The moment her husband struck her, Leona didn't shout, didn't argue, didn't even lift a hand to defend herself. She simply turned her face away from him, breathing through the sting, and walked to the bedroom without a single syllable passing between them. She lay down fully clothed, staring at the muted glow of the digital clock on the nightstand, as though it might explain how her life had shrunk down to this narrow edge of fear. The pulsing numbers read 3:12 a.m., casting flickering red bars across the ceiling like a warning she'd been ignoring for years. Her cheek throbbed with a steady pulse, blooming with heat as though a small fire smoldered beneath her skin. She rested her fingertips lightly against it, wincing at the tenderness. Outside the window, a street lamp hummed, spilling a weak orange glow across the blinds. Inside the house, the refrigerator hummed its long mechanical sighs, and the old floorboards occasionally clicked and settled as though the house itself were restless. Down the hall, the guest room door slammed, a punctuation mark to her silence. Tristan's heavy footsteps thudded across the floor, then the mattress groaned beneath his weight. Within minutes, his familiar snoring began, uneven at first. Then deep and lumbering, the sound that once comforted her in their early years, but had long since curdled into a reminder of everything she had lost. She waited. 5 minutes. 10. Long enough to know he was fully under. Only then did she slide from the bed, moving as if submerged in water. The hardwood chilled her bare feet. A shiver rippled up her spine beneath the thin cotton of her nightdress as she made her way to the bathroom. She closed the door quietly and switched on the light. The reflection looking back at her was someone she barely recognized. The bruise already forming was shaped like an uneven map, purple at its center, red at its edges. She turned her head left, then right, tilting her chin upward to capture every angle in her mind like evidence she wished she didn't need. She unlocked her phone, disabled the flash, and snapped photo after photo. 7 shots. Each one caught the swelling differently, the discoloration, the expression she couldn't hide. The timestamps glowed like an indictment. 3:27, a dot. She emailed the photos to herself. Then to Mara. Then to a private folder she had created months prior, but never had the courage to use. She titled a new note, "Call Mara at 5. Call non-emergency police at 5:30. Urgent care at 7. Do not speak to him under any circumstances. Make breakfast. Make everything appear normal." That last line made her stomach flip. Normal. Nothing about this was normal. She descended the stairs with the weightless tread of a ghost. The lingering smell of the burnt rice still clung to the air, a simple mistake that had set off the chain reaction. The pot sat on the stove, blackened and crusted. She scraped its ruined contents into the trash, each crackle of coal-like grains sounding too loud in the quiet house. Tying the trash bag, she carried it to the back door and paused. The moon lay low in the sky, swollen and warm like an old lantern. It cast long shadows across the tiles. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her memory. "The kitchen keeps our stories, Nina. Feed it with love, and it keeps you safe." Leona had been feeding this kitchen tension, fear, and quiet apologies for years. But not tonight. She opened the pantry. The shelves looked sterile, everything arranged with the rigid order her husband insisted on. Labels forward, items aligned by height and category. But the food she had bought yesterday for a cheerful Sunday breakfast seemed to shimmer with a new meaning. The pancake mix in its faded cardboard box. The glass bottle of maple syrup, the butcher's thick-cut bacon wrapped in brown paper. The carton of eggs still beaded with condensation. The frozen berries she had planned to thaw slowly in a bowl. They would all serve a different purpose now. She set out the griddle and switched on the stove. The burner glowed red like a rising sun. She whisked the batter in her grandmother's old ceramic bowl, the one repaired with a thin line of glue, almost invisible unless the light caught it just right. The scent of vanilla curled upward, soft and warm. She laid the bacon in the cast-iron skillet, the hiss of fat melting sounding almost like a whispered hymn. She washed blueberries in cold water, dusting them with a little sugar to make them glisten. She sliced strawberries into perfect fans, placed them in a white dish, then toasted sourdough and spread it with sweet, preserves she'd bought from the weekend farmer's market, coffee brewed in the French press. Strong and dark. Then she set the table. 4 plates. 4 cloth napkins folded into elegant shapes. 4 sets of cutlery aligned precisely. Orange juice in a glass pitcher catching the earliest blush of dawn. The table looked beautiful like a magazine cover. Like a family holiday morning. Like forgiveness, but it was bait dot at exactly 5 a.m. She dialed Mara. "It happened again," she whispered. "No hesitation, where are you? Are you safe?" Mara's voice sharpened instantly. "I am. And this time, I'm done. I'm ready. I'm already leaving. Stay on the phone." At 5:30, she placed her call to the non-emergency line. The dispatcher took her report calmly, efficiently. "Officers are on their way." "Do not interact with him," the woman instructed. The word suspect appeared in the official language, and Liana's breath caught. Hearing it spoken aloud made it real. Not a marital disagreement. Not a bad night. A crammed out by 5:45, 2 patrol cars glided silently into her small cul-de-sac, followed by Mara's dusty blue hatchback. The officers entered with measured steps. Officer Luna with her warm but alert eyes, Officer Grant quiet and observant. They assessed the scene, photographed everything, and guided Liana gently to sit while they documented her injury. Grant snapped a series of photos under the foyer light. Each click sounded like a door closing behind her, and then came the footsteps upstairs, heavy, slow, oblivious. Tristan emerged wearing sweatpants and entitlement, rubbing his eyes. The smell of breakfast drifted upward, and a self-satisfied smile crawled across his face. "Ah, you finally get it." His voice was thick from sleep. "Good. Took you long enough?" He reached the bottom step and froze. 2 officers in his dining room. Mars sitting in his chair. His wife standing in the doorway with her phone recording, her face bruised, and UNHIDD and Officer Luna rose from her seat. "Mr. Holden, step back. You're being detained for investigation of domestic assault." Tristan's mouth opened and closed like a dying fish. "Liana, what the hell is this?" "What did you tell them?" "Everything," she answered. Handcuffs clicked around his wrists. Grant read him his rights in a steady tone while leading him out the front door. Neighbors peeked through blinds. Mrs. Alden from across the street opened her porch door openly. Hair in rollers. Arms folded like someone who had seen this coming long before Liana had admitted it to herself. After the patrol car rolled away, Mara closed her laptop with a snap. "Phase 1 is done. You're safe for now." The pancakes grew cold on the table, syrup thickening into amber puddles. The morning smelled like sweetness and endings. When the officers left, Liana sank onto the couch, hands trembling but steady enough to recount the entire evening. She described how the burnt rice had triggered his outrage, how he had exploded, how the slap had landed with a crack that felt both shocking and familiar. Mara typed every detail for the restraining order. Liana's voice only cracked once by dawn. She had given her statement, filed the emergency paperwork, and watched Tristan being booked at the station via an online update Mara showed her. They ate the now cold pancakes together. Officer Luna took a plate to go, laughing softly that it was the best breakfast served during an arrest she'd ever encountered. The rest of the day blurred into motion. Clothes packed into bags. Locks changed. A doorbell camera installed. Every action felt symbolic, like reclaiming territory. That night, Liana slept in the guest room. The main bedroom still carried the scent of Tristan's cologne, sharp, overbearing, unnecessary. She stripped the sheets and washed them twice. But still the smell lingered. Early the next morning, she called her workplace, the community library, and explained everything in a wavering voice. "Mr. Desai." Her supervisor listened without interrupting. "Take whatever time you need," he told her gently. "We're here. Your job is waiting," she cried quietly after ending the call, the release catching her by surprise. She and Mara drove to the courthouse to finalize the temporary restraining order. The clerk who processed it handed her tissues, and offered a reassuring smile as she stamped the paperwork. The waiting area was filled with women holding similar documents, their expressions blank or exhausted or quietly determined. Liana felt an odd sense of belonging, an unspoken sisterhood forged in survival. The order was granted. Minimum 500 feet. No contact in any form. Surrender of firearms. Mandatory compliance. For the first time in months, maybe years, Liana inhaled deeply without her chest tightening. Back home. She opened every window. The house filled with cool air and sunlight, washing away the stale heaviness of the night before. She called her cousin June, who listened wide-eyed through the screen during their video call. "You should have called me sooner," June scolded gently. "I'm visiting this weekend." End of discussion. That afternoon, Liana threw herself into cleaning. She scrubbed every corner of the kitchen. She tossed the burnt rice pot into the trash with a satisfying clang. She reorganized the spice cabinet alphabetically, tiny reclaiming of order in a life that had been controlled entirely by someone else's preferences. Then came the first violation, a message from Tristan's number. "Come pick me up from the station." "This isn't funny." She screenshot it, forwarded it to Mara and Officer Luna, and blocked the number. Minutes later, an email arrived from an unfamiliar address. "You'll regret this." "I always forgive, but I don't forget." More screenshots. More documentation. That night, she dreamed of doors, hundreds of them, some open, some closed, some locked. She woke up just before making a choice. Friday arrived, and with it, June carrying 2 suitcases and a fierce determination to make her laugh. They cooked arroz con leche the way their grandmother used to. The sweetness of cinnamon and warm milk filled the house. She had almost forgotten how it felt to cook without fear. Saturday, they painted the dining room a soft green. With each stroke, it felt like covering up the memories embedded into the walls. Mrs. Alden crossed the street to bring cookies and a tremulous apology. "I saw things. I didn't speak up. I should have. I'm sorry." "It's everyone's place to speak," Liana answered softly. Sunday brought her first support group meeting. A circle of folding chairs in a basement that smelled faintly of old hymn books. The group leader, Mira, had an aura of kindness. Liana hesitated before speaking, but once she began, everything flowed. When she finished, the circle erupted with murmured validations, nods of understanding. She wasn't alone. Driving home, she stopped at an art supply store and bought canvases, brushes, and paints she could barely justify. The clerk smiled when ringing her up. "New project?" "New beginning," she said. Back at the library the following week, her co-workers welcomed her gently. She shelved books, helped children find stories, recommended novels to regulars, all while saving every threatening message. Tristan continued to send from new numbers and emails, and then came the USB drive from Mrs. Alden. "My late husband installed cameras for security," she explained. "One faces your driveway. It caught something you should see." The video showed everything: Tristan raising his hand, Liana flinching, the slap. Grainy but undeniable. She watched once, then handed the drive to Officer Luna without another look. The preliminary hearing took place 2 weeks later. Liana sat in a borrowed navy blazer, hands gripping each other tightly. Tristan arrived in a wrinkled suit that didn't quite fit, looking smaller than she remembered. But the anger in his eyes flickered like an old habit. The judge, strict and perceptive, went through the evidence carefully. Photos, medical reports, video footage, text messages, statements. Nothing could be dismissed. After testimonies, including Mrs. Alden's recounting of the video, the judge extended the restraining order, mandated a year-long intervention program for Tristan, and temporarily assigned the house to Liana. It should have brought relief, but that night, a brick crashed through her window with a shattering explosion of glass. A note was wrapped around it, but the scribbled threat was the least terrifying part. The driveway was vandalized with red spray paint, the words slashed across it in dripping letters. Police dusted the brick but found no usable prints. From that night on, patrol cars increased their nightly checks. Liana installed brighter floodlights, reinforced her windows, kept a baseball bat under her bed. She refused to run from her own home, determined to secure her life in all ways. She hired a divorce lawyer, Dana Wu, known for her ability to dismantle abusers in court. Over coffee, Dana laid out everything Liana needed to do: new bank account, credit freezes, asset inventory, legal documentation. Every step felt like cutting a rope that had been strangling her for years. Messages from Tristan, escalated photos of the house taken from outside in the dark, threatening emails, insults, pleas. Liana saved everyone. Her art became her refuge. She painted late into the night, fractured shapes, shadowed silhouettes, and glimmers of hope breaking through dark colors. One piece, a mosaic of shattered glass forming the word warrior, caught the eye of a local gallery owner, who offered her space in an upcoming exhibit. Then came the long-avoided encounter with Sarah, Tristan's ex before Liana. The stories she shared were painfully familiar. The patterns were identical. They compared timelines, memories, explanations, apologies. Sarah offered her old records and agreed to testify in the divorce. "You're not the first," she said, squeezing Liana's hand. "But you can be the last." The divorce process intensified. Tristan fought back viciously, claiming ownership of the house, accusing her of manipulation, even demanding compensation for emotional distress. Dana responded with ironclad filings, backed by police reports and medical records. Then came the break dash and at 2:14 a.m., the alarm screamed. She and June barricaded themselves in the studio while police rushed to the scene. The kitchen was torn apart. Flour scattered like snow. A message spelled out on the refrigerator with magnets. "Mine." Nothing stolen, just a message. Fingerprints eventually tied the intrusion to one of Tristan's former coworkers. When police seized his phone, they discovered messages from Tristan instructing him to frighten her into dropping the case. With payment promised, police arrested Tristan again. This time, no bail. The criminal trial that followed was grueling. The courtroom overflowed with people's supporters, reporters, community members. Liana testified with a strength she hardly recognized as her own. She spoke steadily, truthfully, thoroughly. "I loved him once," she said. "But love that requires silence is not love. Love that leaves bruises is not love. And I choose to live." The jury took 4 hours to return a verdict. Guilty, felony, assault, stalking, conspiracy, sentencing to come. Liana didn't watch as they led him away. She walked outside into the bright air, feeling sunlight like a blessing on her skin. After the trial, life didn't magically become perfect, but it became hers. The divorce finalized in her favor. She kept the house, every item in it, her privacy, her safety. Tristan was granted nothing but court-mandated restrictions. She hosted a gathering soon after, for everyone who had supported her. The new sage-colored walls, the laughter in the rooms, the scent of fresh pancakes, everything felt like reclaiming a space that had once held so much pain. Her art career blossomed. A mural commission at a women's shelter. Workshops for survivors. Speaking engagements. Libraries requested her. Schools invited her. She found herself becoming a voice she'd once needed. She started dating again, slowly, cautiously, eventually warmly. Her coworker, Adrian, the children's librarian with a shy smile, became someone she trusted. Someone gentle. Someone safe. Years passed softly. The home grew fuller, friends visiting often. A dog named Soul, who adored her, new canvases lining the walls. Her memoir, Breakfast After Bruises, became an unexpected bestseller. 10 years later, a gallery exhibited her retrospective. Early paintings of injuries and shadows hung beside radiant pieces, bursting with light and color. One painting, titled The Day After, showed a woman sitting at a breakfast table bathed in morning light. A single pancake on her plate and peace in her eyes. Critics called it powerful. She called it truth. One night, after a long evening at the exhibit, Liana returned home. Adrian waited with warm tea and Soul wagging at the door. She mixed pancake batter, no longer a symbol of fear, but of survival. She added cinnamon, berries, and extra vanilla. They sat together eating in quiet contentment. She looked out at her peaceful street, remembering the chaos and fear that once filled it. "Here's to second mornings," she said softly, raising her mug. "And everyone after," Adrian replied. The kitchen glowed with warmth. The world outside was calm, and the pancakes were perfect.